What do you do when a kimono is too short? Well, there are many ways to deal with too short kimono. In this video, I'm going to address 3 of my most favorite tricks. Let's get started. In case you're here for the first time, my name is Matsunaga. I'm a fully trained and certified kimono teacher and stylist. In my last video that you might want to check out because it's addressing the most common kimono dressing mistakes, I established that a kimono has to be as long as you are tall. It has to be you from head to floor. This is how long a kimono has to be when you want to wear it the most common way of wearing kimono, the way you usually learn from kimono teachers like me, the way you learn in kimono schools. And the 3 tips and tricks I'm addressing today is something that you usually don't learn in kimono school, but I, as a professional kimono teacher, will of course show you. There's just one thing that I really want to make clear. There is no free size in kimono. It is still clothing, and clothing at one point won't fit anymore. And in that case, you just have to accept that the kimono won't fit you. It doesn't mean that you can't wear it. It means you probably have to style it in a different way. Don't wear it as a kimono. You can also try to integrate it in your Western wardrobe. I have a whole video about that you want to check out, so I'm gonna link it in the top right corner and down below. But let's get started what you can do when a kimono is too short and still wearable. By the way, for me, I think that is a kimono that is minus 30 centimeter than your height. And that is then still a kinda wearable kimono. And the kimonos I'm going to work with today, the shortest one of them is 25 centimeter too short for me. The first way I recommend how to wear a too short kimono, for example, that is 25 centimeter too short for you, is wearing the kimono tsuitake. Tsuitake is a Japanese word meaning that you wear a kimono without a o-hashori. O-hashori is usually the big fold on front and back you create when you put on a kimono. And for example, men's kimono or male kimono, they don't have that at all. They wear kimono tsuitake. And of course, if you want to, that is absolutely no issue for female kimono too. And I'm going to show you how to do that. It's the first time that you actually see that this kimono is too short for me because when I wore it, which was only one time, I wore it with a hashori. So people do not know that this kimono actually doesn't fit me. Don't tell anyone. So we're gonna set the center back seam back into the center. And you slide along the collar until one hand size from the end of the collar. Turn your hands, make a fist, lift this up until under your armpits, let all fingers fall except index finger and thumb, and let the kimono slide down until the hem touches the floor. Bring the left side to your right. Make sure to cover up your right thigh, which also means that the collar here has to be completely on your right. And then you open up, bring the left side to your right, let the hem wipe the floor, and lift this for about 10 centimeter. This is not covering up my complete front. Guess what? Too short kimono are very often also shorter in width. We don't care about that. Let's move on. So I hold this in place, remove wrinkles on the right side, bring the left side to my right, and lift this for about 4 to 5 centimeter. Hold this in place with my right hand with the thumb to the back. And this time I place this hand into the center of my waist because this kimono is gonna have a tiny o-hashori and I wanna place that under the obi. So the o-hashori is completely hidden. And to make sure that I place this tie onto the center of my waist, I'm holding it now up here in the center of my waist. Remove wrinkles and you take the tie. We're going to use a regular kimono tie. I have it in the center. Give the right side into my right hand, let it slide through, put tie center and body center, pass it to the back, cross, lift, breathe in, pull, and I tie a half bow on the front, which means you tie a bow and you pull one end through, so you have 2 ends on one side and a loop on the other. And we're gonna nicely tuck that under so it's not gonna peek out. Both index fingers go under the tie on the back and you slide to the side to remove wrinkles. Really make sure that there are not a lot of wrinkles back here because when you don't wear an o-hashori, it tends to be really wrinkly here. So really make sure that you get rid of all the wrinkles and any air that might be here over your bum. And then you go to your right side, make sure that the erisaki again is straight, should be completely straight, not looking upwards or downwards, should be parallel to the floor. And then I put my index finger, right index finger, under the tie and slide to the back to remove the wrinkles out of the end of the collar. Both index fingers go into the Miyatsuguchi, tap down 1, 2. There's not a lot to tap down because it's a mini o-hashori. You slide to the front and tap down 1, 2 on the front. Leave your left hand in, pull your right hand out and open up the front skirt. Make sure that the shitamae, the inside layer, hasn't dropped. If it did, you pull it up. And you can now see that I have a tiny o-hashori here on the front, and this is exactly where my obi is going to be. So let's finish off the collar. When you now straighten out and you don't really have a big o-hashori, just make sure that you kind of can pinch here the center back seam on the back. When you don't have this tiny lap here, you just grab it here somewhere under the belt or the tie, so you can put your index finger in and slide to the side to remove wrinkles. And you pull in the center and then on the side. Hook your thumbs into the back panels and pull to the front. And this is how it looks now without an obi. So let's put an obi on and let's see how that looks with obi. I think the absolute queen of wearing kimono tsuitake is Choco-san. I'm going to put her Instagram down below. You cannot even tell when she wears the kimono tsuitake because the rest of her kitsuke is so absolutely perfection that it's impossible to tell unless you really look for it. So my secret to wear a kimono without o-hashori is just trying to make all the other spots really on point. So I can promise you will also get less comments on it. Those comments are, by the way, my personal reason why I don't wear kimono without a hashori very often. I have been living in Japan for a decade, and just by being a foreigner here, you get very often put into this foreigner box. So for example, it's like always the oddest incident. People will come to you and start a conversation like,
"Oh, Billy, so how tall are you? Like 170 something?"
And like they're standing right next to me and they're like about my height. I'm seriously not the tallest person you have ever seen on earth. I'm like on the taller average side in Japan. And people would just assume I'm over 170 just because I'm not Japanese. I could seriously fill books with these kind of incidents. And that is also why I rather want to have a hashori, even onto short kimono, because people seriously gonna come over to you and say stuff like,
"Of course you don't have an o-hashori because you poor tall foreign girl. Of course all those kimonos are way too short for you."
Again, they're not even gonna compare their height to mine to actually find out how tall I really am. They're just gonna assume I'm tall and that is why I don't have an o-hashori, which is not the truth. And there are definitely some of you who can deal with these type of conversations better. I personally really dislike these types of comments. I just can't deal with them. That is why I use a different technique, and that is the next one. Wearing a too short kimono with a hashori, and we're not gonna use a usual koshihimo. We're gonna use a 1 centimeter wide elastic instead of a koshihimo. Let me show you how to do that. Let's make this way too short kimono wearable with this elastic. I have made this myself. I used bikini closure, bikini strap closure. So I have a loop on one side and I can hook it into the other. And the width of this belt is 1 centimeter. First, we're gonna set the center back seam back into the center. And then you slide along the collar until one hand size from the end of the collar. And then you turn your hands, make a fist, and lift this up until under your armpits. Let all fingers fall except index finger and thumb, and let the kimono slide down until the hem touches the floor. Bring the left side to your right and make sure to cover up your right thigh, which also means that your collar piece here should be completely on your side. When you don't know what I mean with this, make sure to check out my last video, linked in the top right corner and down below. And then you open up and bring the right side to your left, let the hem wipe the floor, and you lift this for about 10 centimeter. And you can see that this kimono is so tiny that now the inner layer doesn't even properly cover up my inside, my front hip here on the inside. That is absolutely fine, by the way. I rather have the outside covered up and the inside doesn't really have to. So I hold this in place because my elbow can't. I hold it with my rather forearm. Remove wrinkles on the right side. And then I bring the left side over to my right. Let the hem wipe the floor and lift this for about 5 centimeter. And you hold this in place with your right hand with the thumb to the back. And I place my hand here already onto my hip bone. And I remove wrinkles on the left side. I take my belt in the center, give the right side into my right hand, let it slide through so I can put belt center on body center, pass it to the back, cross, pull to tighten, and close it on the front. Then both index fingers go under the belt on the back and slide to the side to remove wrinkles. I'm also going to place it a tiny bit higher than it sits on the front. I go to my right side, make sure that the end of the collar here is straight, meaning parallel to the floor, should not be facing upwards or downwards, should be completely straight. And I go with my index finger under the tie or belt and slide to the back to remove wrinkles. Then both hands go into the Mitsuki and you tap down 1, 2, slide to the front and tap down 1, 2 on the front. And then very important, left hand stays inside, right hand opens up the front skirt and you check if your stomach has dropped. This tends to drop, especially when you dress too short kimono that don't really fit you in width either. So really make sure that this is lifted up. You can fix this by just pulling it up with your left hand in the inside. And then you close up the front. And then I'm going to do a cross slide. So my left hand goes behind both layers all the way to the right. My right hand goes into the top layer through the collar and I slide to each other side. And one last time with my right hand from left to right. And you can see we already succeeded making an o-hashori. Now you can go ahead and finish off the collar. And here is how it looks like having a kimono with an o-hashori. Okay, now let's show you how it looks like with an obi. This is my favorite way how to deal with it. This is a very common trick in Japan. I think most of the people, especially into antique kimono, because they're really short, know this trick. For yourself, if you want to have o-hashori or not, that is basically up to you. As I said, I personally like having an o-hashori on me more. For the last way of dealing with too short kimono, actually we'll have to make something. This is actually a product in Japan you can buy. I'm gonna put their homepage down below. I think you call them homsuehem. I'm not quite sure about the reading. They are a wrapped skirt, a susoyoke, that has the bottom part of it as pleated skirt. So in the end, it looks like you're wearing a pleated skirt under your kimono. You can see my pretty outfit. My sister and her girlfriend are coming soon, this week. And her girlfriend, who is, by the way, a tall girl, she's like 1.93 meters, said she wants to wear a kimono. And when someone tells me they want to wear a kimono, I don't care about your silhouette. I'm trying to put you into a kimono. So we're going to make a so-called, nowadays everyone knows it as homsuehem, because it's a brand you can actually purchase. I would love to purchase one actually. Would actually be way easier than now making one. But even like size L will definitely not cover up a 1.93 person. I got this cotton lace that I wanted to put onto the hem as a pleated skirt. The lace itself was like 108. No, it was only 98 centimeter wide, and I bought about 80 centimeters, so I could just piece it into 30 centimeter strips, sew them together and have then one very long strip. Because to be seriously honest, I used the online calculator on how much fabric I need to make the pleats into the size I need and everything. But I don't trust this kind of stuff. And I also don't trust myself. I'm just really bad at math. So instead of trying to figure out how much I need and that having still not enough, I was just calculating it online, got way more than I need than that, or maybe more than the calculator told me that I need, and start to pleat everything of it. So here are my pleats. The pleating went super easy. I made some fork pleats, and I made every pleat about 2.5 centimeters deep, which is about 1 inch. And then from there, I measure about 5 centimeters, which is about 2 inches, and then set another pleat in there. In general, this pleating took like, I think 30 minutes. It came together super easily. And now we are going to attach this just to a really long piece of fabric. I bought 115 length, and the width of this is 108. And I'm just gonna use the whole width as length of it, and the length is going to be the width to wrap around. Hopefully this made a tiny bit more sense than it sounded like to me right now. If you wanna know how to do a proper susoyoke, I am going to link a video where I actually made a susoyoke in the top right corner and down below, so you can check that out. And now we're going to attach all my pleats onto this long piece of black cotton fabric. Okay, you should be able to see my feet. So here she is. Can you see this? It's working! This is so cute. Okay, so I will have to hem the sides now, and then I will sew on the ties, but we're almost there. Okay. By the way, I think I do sound in this section really stressed out. There's so much stuff to do before those two are coming, including finishing off this video. That is also why you will not see actual pictures of my sister's girlfriend in this video. I'm either gonna put it up on Instagram or gonna make a community post up here on YouTube in case you wanna see her wearing the susoyoke. Please tell me in the comments So I'm gonna put up that picture somewhere so you can see it. For the straps or the ties on the side to actually tie it in place, I'm gonna just go the super lazy route, and I bought some cotton twill weave tape that I'm gonna sew on, and that is gonna go around on the sides to actually tie it. And here she is. Look how big she is. Well, I kept her this long on purpose because, you know, I don't know my sister's girlfriend's specific measurements. So I'm gonna show you how to put this one on, but keep in mind it's way too long for me. So I have to wiggle a tiny bit. So I wanna have this length here hitting the floor. I think with this one you can even go shorter with it because it's, again, just an item for fun. Just keep in mind, kimono looks better in general when you cover up your ankle. So you wanna at least go ankle height. So we're gonna do the same as we do with the kimono. You bring the left side to your right, make sure to cover up your right thigh. With undergarments, you go a tiny bit more to the side than you would do with a kimono. So you can see, you wanna cover up a tiny bit more to the side. You can see it really almost wrap this around my waist. Then I open up, and I bring the right side to my left, let the hem wipe the floor. And when I reach my left side, I'm gonna lift this for about 10 centimeters. And then I wrap the left side to my right, let the hem wipe the floor, and I lift this for about 5 centimeters. Then I'm gonna pull the tie on the right side out. And these corners here are way too wonky right now, so I'm gonna fold these down, go to the back, cross, pull to tighten, and tie a bow on the front. And by the way, absolutely obsessed with this already. I find this so cute. I'm probably gonna wear it as Western clothes too. Just as a regular wrapped skirt. On top of this, we're gonna put on the kimono. Put the center back seam back into the center, slide along the collar until one hand slides from the end of the collar. Turn your hands, make a fist. Lift it up until under your armpits. Let all fingers fall except index finger and thumb, and let the hem slide down. And because you have 30 centimeter or 25 centimeter, whatever how long you make the pleat skirt on the bottom, you can just make sure to cover up the seam where the pleats are actually attached to. And then you bring the left side to your right, make sure to cover up your right thigh, open up again, bring the right side to your left, bring it straight over, lift it for about 10 centimeters, hold this in place, remove wrinkles, and then you bring the left side to your right, straight over, lift this for about 10 centimeters, hold this in place with your right hand with the thumb to the back, and remove wrinkles. Using a regular tie, I place it about belly button height, where I usually place my ties when I dress a kimono that has my height. And then you continue with regular kimono dressing. I'm gonna do one stop here because everything is gonna look a tiny bit weird with the microphone on. This is how it looks like. Let me finish this properly off with an obi, and then we're gonna see how it's going to look like with an obi. I'm obsessed with this look. I absolutely love homsuehem. They were just always on the lower half of my shopping list, the half I never get to. But I still have them on my shopping list because they have a lot of cute designs, so make sure to check them out. Not sponsored, of course, because I basically showed you how to make one. Last but not least, when you ask me personally as a professional kimono teacher, what of those techniques I showed you today is the best for what event? And I personally, and that's my personal and also professional opinion, everything is fine. All of those 3 ways I showed you in this video how to deal with too short kimono is fine for every event. I even have Japanese friends going to their friend's wedding with a way too short homongi. It was an antique, really cute homongi. They put a homsuehem on the bottom and went there. You can also go without o-hashori. You can also fake an o-hashori. Whatever you want to do is fine, because there is no rule or like etiquette that is telling you need an o-hashori in your kimono outfit to be properly dressed. There is nothing like that. As long as you feel confident and comfortable in any of those techniques I showed you today, everything of that is fine for you. 2 ways that I have not addressed in this video of how to deal with too short kimono is, for example, putting a hakama on your too short kimono. A hakama will always cover up your legs. I have a different video of how to put on a hakama. I'm gonna put it here up in the top right corner and down below, so you can check that out. And instead of using a hakama, you could also just put a skirt over your kimono. And I have again a video on that too. It's in my video of how to integrate kimono in your Western wardrobe. So this video is already linked down below because I've already mentioned that video. I hope you really liked this video. You found some styling ideas, what to do with your kimono. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them down below in the comments or send me a message on Instagram. When you're new here and you feel like sticking around and learn more about kimono from a professional kimono teacher, feel free to subscribe. I would be really happy to have you here, and I'll see you in my next kimono adventure.